we go. How's that look there? Hey, what's up?
Good, Sheehan.
How are you? Good. I'm just testing out the video site.
So I noticed the cover's blocked.
Oh, okay. You got a little issue with the cover. What happened? You just.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Judge. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Katie. If you remember, I've met you before, but.
Hang on, Katie. All right, there you are. Hi, Katie. How are you?
Good.
Does this video look? Let me figure this out. I got a cover on this that's really not helping. All right, good. Now I got a bit. All right, that looks. Does that look okay where I'm at?
Yep.
All right, good. Now all right. I got Darren who's screwing me up.
Helping you.
There you go. There you go.
Severely well framed.
Now let's try doing sharing the video. I got a shared screen. You guys know how to do it? Let's see if it works. Okay, so share screen.
Right. So then we go.
And I just want to make sure one of the videos works I have.
Okay.
Does that look okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's get to we got one video I just want to play. Just a tester. You guys are going to get a full-blown video here.
Nice. You've been hard at work. Oh, wow.
Let's see.
The jury trials have begun here in Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court.
Can you guys hear that?
If you receive a summons for jury duty, it's very naturally.
All right, cool.
Good?
Yep, I could hear it.
You know it works.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning. All right, and I'll once we do, we'll how to stop sharing, and then we just hit share screen. We hope we're good. All right, good.
It should be good. Hopefully Andy will be joining us shortly.
Yep. How many people have signed up for this?
I am really not positive. I thought we had at least 20.
Okay.
And then
The paid was 16 this morning, but we sent another email earlier today as well. So I'm going to pull that up.
Nice.
And then Mike, it lives on YouTube afterwards, right? People just can't get CLE credit at that point.
Yeah,
okay.
so we have it unlisted, but people will be able to view it afterwards, correct?
Right. So we usually get quite a few that watch it afterwards too. So you will live on, both of you. Hi, Andy.
Hello, good morning. Good afternoon, I guess, or good morning still. I don't even know.
Close, right? Yeah. Good to see you. Thanks for agreeing to participate.
Sure. I did have a question for you. I don't know if now's a good time or you were going to go over a couple other things first.
No, go ahead.
So if someone has a question for Judge Sheehan, I know that he's going to be putting on his presentation first, but if someone has a question, should I say at the beginning that there's some type of chat feature or something for people to use to pose their questions to me, and then I will relay them to Judge Sheehan?
Yeah, you know what? I was going to address that at the beginning. You're welcome to say it as well throughout, and then you guys can kind of decide if, as the question comes in, that it makes sense to go ahead and ask it. If it's relevant to the topic, you could go ahead and do that. Or if you want to save some for the end, it is fine too. Whatever I think flows best between the two of you as you're doing it.
Your phone and stop making so much noise. Sorry, I got Andrew. Not you. It's Darren's making so much noise. I couldn't hear you guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did he want to participate?
Yeah, he wants to participate. All right.
He's probably running away.
So how long do I have? Just so I know. What's my time frame?
Yeah, so the whole presentation is an hour.
Okay.
So I would just leave a few minutes at the end in case there are some questions that come through towards the end of it. But otherwise, you guys have an hour to go through.
All right, good. Yeah. My presentation's 2 hours.
But you talk really fast, I bet.
Yeah, I do talk quick.
Do you have your podium, Judge? I know how much you love people standing behind the podium.
You know my podium trick. Hang on, I just screwed the screen up. All right, hang on one second. I'm going to step away for 1 second. All right.
Okay.
Hang on.
Hey, Katie, do we know how many people are signed up for this?
Yeah, so Mike just said there's been an update of about 32 who are
Oh,
registered so far.
that's good.
So yeah. And then I was saying afterwards, it's usually put up onto YouTube, so somebody can eventually find it on there if they really want to.
Oh, that's
They
great.
just don't get CLE credit for it after that. So then they're on their own.
So I understand, Katie, then you're going to describe the sort of the mechanics and the logistics, and then I'll do a short introduction of Judge Sheehan before
Right.
turning it over to him.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'll
Perfect.
just let people know kind of CLE credit purposes, what they need to be doing for that. And then I'll mention the part about the question and answer if they want to submit those down below in the
Perfect.
Q&A or the chat. And then if you just kind of keep your eye on that throughout the presentation, and you can throw those in wherever you think they're best to chat about.
Got it. Will
So-
do.
All right, Katie, then I'm going to shut off my video and hide in the background unless something happens that you need me.
Okay,
I'll
and
let you know
once
when we let everyone in.
okay, and once it goes, then I will stop my video as well, and you guys will have that, so you don't have to see me on there.
Perfect.
And it will just be you guys.
I'm back. Sorry about that. I just, deal with all these crazy things going around me. So what's the format, Andy? Are you gonna, Katie, you're gonna start off, and then
I
Andy's
will
gonna,
start off.
and then
Right.
I'll say a couple things, and then I'll have some help with Darren sharing the screen, and then we'll go from there, right? And then when
Yep. And then I'll just jump back on at the very end, just to again remind people that they have to fill out a survey to get their CLE credit. And thank you both for participating. And we'll call it a day.
And Judge, I'm going to embarrass you for the first 2 minutes with my introduction. That's my plan.
just remember, I get the last word. Go on.
You do, but I got to get you back from last week.
Uh-oh.
This is my
Hey, it
chance.
says I'm connected again. What are you doing? Am I on? Are you on this, Darren? Oh, you just connected? Oh, but you're on as Judge Brendan Sheehan.
Are you connecting through your phone?
Yeah, look it. Check this out. Hang on, come here, Darren. He's. Hang on. Yeah, there's like another Brendan Sheehan on there, isn't there?
Yep. Yeah, because each person has their own link for, oh, now Darren.
This is Andrea. Andrea Canea. Say hello to Andrea.
Oh, hi, Andrea.
Hello,
Yeah,
Andrea.
you can.
Nice to see you.
You too.
Nice to see you. Yeah, Darren's got to join the other group, right? So Darren, what is there an ID number or something Darren can join? I want Darren.
He probably is on just the link for the presenters.
Yeah, you're on the link for the presenters, Darren. Not anymore. All right, we'll get
Now he's off.
Darren. We'll get Darren off this link.
Yep, he's off.
All right.
Hey, Judge,
Is there an
those
ID number?
those photos you sent me, are those public now? The ones in the medical mart?
Not really, but
Okay.
I used one of them in the presentation, but I
Okay.
just sent them to you for your committee, so you and Sabode and company can look at it, so you guys
Okay.
won't be fearful of what you're getting into over there.
Perfect. Can I share those then with our committee? Just our committee? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I haven't shared them with the bench. I kind of figured it's probably better not the photos that they're not professional and just kind of just give you a taste of what it looks like,
I liked your
Which
large
looks pretty
Starbucks
good, doesn't it?
coffee. It's
Yeah, right. But it looks pretty good, doesn't it?
It looks incredible. It looks incredible. And the timing's good because, we're sending out the survey this week. And so it'll be nice when people start seeing how it's going to work. I think will lead to some good results.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. Much better than a plexiglass infused courtroom to have just adequate space. So it's a great idea.
Little social distancing, yeah.
Totally.
Although face masks are still required.
Oh, is that right? Even with that kind of distance?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the national people saying that.
And it's
now.
not long term.
It's yeah. Yeah, it's a short-term solution till the medical mart or the conventions start coming back. But at least we have some access to it, you know,
Right.
get things going. I have judges already on September 21st wanting to start up with it.
Really?
Yeah,
And what's going on with the criminal cases?
September 21.
Oh, that's going to be the first. Okay. But those aren't
Yeah.
going to be tried across the street, are they?
No, no.
Because
So
you need the jail.
Yep. And the security.
Hmm.
And security. So it's going to be interesting to see. It'll be a fun, we should have a fun adventure on this. But if there's a civil trial that wants to be tried on September 21, which I think 2 judges already have set up, they're going to be ready to go.
Wow. That's
Wow.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Judge, do you want that code in order for Darren to join in?
Yeah.
Does he need that?
Yeah. What is the code?
It is 842-5223-0896.
Got it. I'll give it to him so he doesn't feel left out.
Okay.
I'm staring at the screen like this, Katie, because I'm seeing if I could put some notes up on one side of my screen here.
Yeah.
That's probably my internet. The webinar. So Darren's going to be monitoring it from his thing, so he's on, which is good.
Okay.
He'll shut me up when I say something wrong too. When you see someone grab me, when you see a hook like
When you
this,
get the hook.
it means I said something I shouldn't have said.
Yeah, that means you shared too much or.
Oh, no. He'll give me this. Stop. If you see my eyes wander this way, you know I'm being told, shut up.
How was your vacation, Judge?
Oh my God, it was great.
Was it good? Good.
It was interesting because you know, it's sad because Erin's at medical school at Toledo.
I did not
And-
know that. That's incredible. Good for her.
And then when we got back, then Michaela went down to Miami, dropped her off. So I went from they don't even, Miami of Ohio, it doesn't even start till the end of September. But who wouldn't want to be with all their friends in a house drinking
Right.
and having parties, right?
Of
Who would
course.
want to
Well,
work there?
they're not even doing online yet?
Not even I take that back. They are doing online.
Okay.
They're not, but no one's coming back to campus till September 21st, I think.
Right. Well,
So
I could-
it's online, and I'm like, why would you want to leave me? And my daughter politely says, Dad, I've been with you for 6 months. I really need to
Right.
go.
Any of the orange people go on vacation with you?
Yes, all your friends.
Is that true?
Aaron and Brad, Aaron Hillard, or Aaron
Okay.
Michael, and Ann Holmes.
Okay. What about Michelle? Not your Michelle, the other Michelle.
Hopkins.
Hopkins.
No, Michelle didn't make it.
Okay.
But Carrie Altig was there.
Ah, okay.
That was good. It was nice. I mean, all their kids. It was fun.
Good. Good. And all your kids went?
2 of the 3.
Got it.
One is in. One was too important to come.
The one in medical school, right?
Right.
Well, she's got more important things to do right now.
It was kind of sad because she was looking forward to it and then realized she couldn't. She had to be online and the internet connection was just not there, so she couldn't do it.
What year is she in?
First year.
Oh,
starting.
good for her.
They had their
for
white
her.
coat. They had their white coat ceremony. God, when was it? Yes, last Friday. Which is really cool. Yeah, it was nice.
That's really
Yeah.
neat.
One of our nieces just graduated from there.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What was their Katie? What was their experience? They like it?
Good, yeah, she liked it. She's in emergency medicine. She did her residency down at OSU, and now she's working at a hospital down there in Columbus. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are tremendous. They work hard. They really do.
Yeah, it's very busy. Yeah. Hey, Andy, a question came through our email saying that one of the questions they want answered is whether or not there is a need for assigned counsel and whether there is a new procedure to get on that list. If you don't mind adding that to your
Sure.
list of
So
questions there.
is there I'm sorry, I only caught the second part. Is there a procedure for assigned counsel?
Yeah, well, is that whether they have a need for assigned counsel,
Okay.
and then whether there's a new procedure to get on the list. Okay, Mike is going to open up the now. We'll just wait a few minutes while everybody kind of trickles in, and then go ahead and get started.
Great.
So we are now live. We'll just wait a little bit as the participant number increases there. And we get everyone on. So it should just be a minute.
Live. It's an hour.
All right, we should have just a little under 40, I think, people joining us today. So we'll just give that another minute or less and get going.
Katie, are we going to see everyone, or is it just, just us, our group will appear?
Right. Yep, you will not see all the attendees.
Okay.
So, all right, so we will go ahead and get started. So thank you everyone who is able to join us today. I'd like to welcome Judge Brendan Sheehan, the administrative judge from the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court. Serving as our moderator today will be Andy Goldwasser, as you can see, of Ciano and Goldwasser. So thank you, Andy, for doing this with us. Andy has been an active participant in CMBA's Bench Bar COVID-19 Task Force and also participates in our lawyer referral service. So thank you, Andy, for all that you do for the profession. And I'll let you go ahead and take it from there. One quick thing, sorry. If anybody does have any questions, they can insert those at the bottom. You'll see the Q&A or the chat box at the bottom. We'll be watching that throughout the presentation. And just please make sure that in order to receive your CLA credit, you will need to watch the program as opposed to calling into the program. And then after the presentation is done, you will receive an email with a survey. So once that survey is completed, then you will get CLA credit. So go ahead, Andy. Thank you.
All right. Great. Thanks. Thank you, Katie. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. Again, my name is Andy Goldwasser. I'm with the law firm of Ciano and Goldwasser. I will be moderating today's presentation. What we're going to do is we're going to begin with Judge Sheehan, who will provide an overview of what the court has been doing since the COVID pandemic. After Judge Sheehan completes his presentation, we'll open up the Zoom platform for questions. As Katie mentioned, at the bottom of the screen, there's a chat box. Feel free to type in any question you want, and time permitting, we'll try to get you an answer to your question. By way of introduction, as all of you are aware, Judge Sheehan is the administrative judge for the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court. But what you might not know about Judge Sheehan is that since March, he has literally worked 7 days a week to keep the Justice Center open and the jail operating safely. And this has not been an easy task. And the amount of Judge Sheehan's efforts cannot be understated. To Judge Sheehan's credit, he has had countless meetings with other judges, health professionals, building services, and county officials. He created a bench bar task force to elicit ideas and gather feedback from practitioners. He has worked cooperatively with judges across Ohio, including federal court, and he has developed and implemented guidelines and protocols for the court and the jail. Even figuring out little things like how to deal with only 2 people on an elevator in the Justice Center has fallen into his lap, and he has had to deal with those types of problems. So Judge Sheehan, I am sincere when I say that we are grateful to have you. to have you serve as our administrative judge, and we are truly indebted for your leadership and your extraordinary efforts during the course of the pandemic. Take it away,
Well,
Judge.
Thanks, Andy, and thanks, Katie, and thanks everyone for tuning in. I kind of find it funny. This is called A View from the Bench, and I'm talking via Zoom because that is the view from our bench. Is every judge is via Zoom, doing hearings on Zoom. But I would like, if I could, I have some help here with our PIO, Darren Toms, is going to come over here and help me. I kind of created a PowerPoint. If it's okay, I'm going to go through the PowerPoint, and then please ask questions at the end, and I will go through it. But hopefully this presentation works. More importantly, it works. And all right, can everyone see that? All right, Andy, can you see that? I think I just hit the arrow button to move forward. So our view from the bench. I just want to start off by, first of all, okay, how do I click it here, guys? How do I advance the screen? So hang on a second. You figured technology would work. There you go. So what I want to do is, first of all, thank Judge Russo for his 6 years as administrative judge. He stepped down after last year, and I got to take over for him, but I just wanted to publicly thank Judge Russo. He left us in December after 6 years. And if you notice, I start this presentation, I always joke with him, when he started the job, he had hair, and now he doesn't have hair in his photo. So I like to start the presentation with that because some people have said I've gotten older as this job has gone, as I moved on. But let me start off in 2020. I'm telling you what, it was a January and February, what a honeymoon I had. I got to meet with the entire court staff. I got up to speed on issues such as the future of the Justice Center. We talked about where I got information on bail reform and what was gonna, what the reports and where we're going on bail reform and trying to get data on that. I talked with all our judges and what they hope to see in the 2 years. And then I also was following, believe it or not, news reports about this virus that started in China. So what then happened, I met in March 6th with the entire court staff. And one of the things I was proud about, and I don't know if people can everyone see the PowerPoint on this? Okay, good. I met with the entire court staff, and we were really excited in March, in the beginning of March. It was Women's History Month, and we were proud of the fact that our bench is 50% women now, which is really amazing. And we created banners that we put all over the Justice Center with all of our judges, our women judges, and we're really moving forward and making all the different progresses this court has grown in. And it was great. And then came March 10th. On March 10th, I met with Dr. Bruner, who was the doctor in the jail, and she works at Metro Health. And she comes and sees me on an afternoon about 4 o'clock and says, Judge, I just want you to know that this virus that they're talking about, if it's not if, but when it hits our jail, if our jail is set the way it is today, we are going to have a lot of deaths and we are going to be in trouble. The whole criminal justice system will fall apart. And I quickly said, what do you mean? I mean, they're just talking about this in China. What are you talking about? She goes, Judge, she stressed the urgency of what was going on in the jail and the population. She goes, we need to make sure. And I said, Doctor, I hear you. I go, why don't you come to our judges meeting, which is on Wednesday, March 11th? So she came to the judges meeting on March 11th, and she mentioned, I introduced her to the bench, and she gave the same presentation she gave me. And what I really am proud about is our judges didn't sit back and say, oh, okay. I mean, everyone rolled up their sleeves and said, we've got to do something now. And what happened at that meeting on March 11th was something that just changed the course of our criminal justice system. I think that day will be forever remembered in my mind, and maybe in the length of what we've done in this courthouse. But on that day, we immediately decided to cancel all of our jury trials. We suspended jury trials and this is what we said, oh, let's give it a month. This is like the flu season. We'll get it by in a month and everything will be fine. We then started looking at, I signed an administrative order, and I wanted to make sure our probation department was preparing for call-in reporting. We wanted to limit the way people got into the courthouse, so we shut down Lakeside Courthouse entrance. And then on March 20th, Friday, March 20th, I called another judges meeting, and I said, you know what? This virus it's not if, it's now, it's hitting us. We have to reduce our court staff. We can't have all these people coming in the building. And so we reduced our court staff, and we started, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what Zoom was until March of last year. And all of a sudden, everyone's talking about Zoom and having people work remote. And we had our court staff on March 20th. It was reduced, but there's something that happened on March 14th that I really wanted to talk about. On March 11th, when Dr. Bruner met with our judges, the jail population was 1,971, almost 2,000 people in that jail. And I said, we gotta, as the judges, we gotta get people moving through the system. We gotta get people out of the jail. And all of a sudden, we started Saturday arraignments. It was the first time we had Saturday arraignments. The goal was to get people through the system. Every judge focused on their criminal cases. And what I'm proud to say, in 3 weeks, we reduced that jail population from 1,971 to under 1,000. I think it was 998 or 997 or something of that number. And it wasn't that we just, and this was amazing because it wasn't that we just opened up, and I had neighbors calling me, what are you doing, Sheehan? Are you just opening up the jailhouse doors and letting people run out? No, what we did was we expedited hearings. We focused completely on the criminal dockets. We had judges, we had everyone in the room. The decision makers were all in the room that were dealing with the case. The supervisors who marked the case, the victims were there on phone or via phone. The prosecutors their markers were there. The criminal defense lawyers were there. Everyone was in the room. The defendant was in the room. And we were able to get things moved in an expedited fashion that was just amazing. And I'm telling you, why we did that and what we did was to allow the jail the ability to quarantine and isolate defendants in jail if they catch this virus. And what I'm proud to say, up to Monday, August 24th, there were only 4 positive COVID cases in our county jail. And currently there's about 13 or 1,400 individuals in the jail now. That number's rising, but it's amazing at that time what we were able to do. And it's all because we were isolating defendants. We were able to prepare the jail, and our bench was able to get it. But what was even more amazing, the Cuyahoga County Jail, which was the butt of jokes around the nation in the last couple years, all of a sudden, we led the nation on how to deal with jails. I mean, and one other thing I'd like to talk, when we were talking in this on March 11th, everyone was looking at me saying, what is wrong with you? What are you, crazy? I got calls from friends of mine who are judges in Hamilton County and Franklin County. They're all looking at me saying, why are you canceling jury trials? What is going on in Cuyahoga County? And then all of a sudden that night, the president of the United States is on the national TV saying, this is a serious pandemic. And still people were questioning, what were we doing in Cuyahoga County? But then this now I want you to pay attention. When the NBA season was canceled on March 11th, all of a sudden, everyone's looking at Cuyahoga County saying, what did you know that we didn't know? And we became a national model. I mean, we were the New York Times, the Washington Post, USA Today. They were all coming to us saying, what are you doing? How are you preparing? And how did you get your jail under this control prior to all this stuff going on? And so I was proud, and it's not because I was some smart guy, not because just Dr. Bruner came and talked to us. No, it was because of collaboration. It was because of working with the county prosecutor, working with the public defender, the CCDLA, the judges. Everyone worked together, and it was a great collaborative effort that was able to make things happen in the court. So as I go through the timeline, I just wanted to tell you then what we did to make our court safe for the users of the court. On March 19th, again, ahead of the curve, before anyone was doing this, we started health screening, where people were coming into our building. They were checked with they were given COVID questions. They were asked if they've been around anyone with COVID, were positive for COVID, or they were looking at COVID symptoms. They had temperature over 100. And why were we doing that? Well, one of our judges during the plea days that we were doing prior to had a defendant come into the courtroom and his lawyer, and he was going to resolve his case. And the lawyer mentions, okay, and this lawyer, if you'll probably guess who he is, had his arm around him, was hugging him. And he said, oh yeah, attorney, my mom was just positive for COVID and she's in the hospital. All of a sudden, it caused, I wouldn't say panic, it caused some immediate concern. And I'm like, boy, we've got to start asking people if they've been around people COVID positive, or they know someone, or and so we started implementing that March 19th. I signed an administrative order at that time, reducing only 4 courtrooms would be operating, because the Supreme Court said, and it's right, we can't close, we have to be open. And so we were working feverishly trying to get cases moving, keep people worried about people's constitutional rights, getting them out of jail, resolving matters, yet at the same point, making sure everyone was healthy and safe. So then I'm sitting at March 25th, I'm sitting in my house, and I know Andy, and I talked to Andy, and Andy and I were chatting. And one of the things I was concerned about was, well, we put all this focus with the criminal cases. I'm concerned about the civil cases. I'm concerned about what law firms are doing. What are we doing to make sure the civil cases aren't ignored, and what's happening? And I reached out to the Bar Association. Ian Friedman was the past president, and Becky McMahon. And we all sat down together, and I said, we need to form a task force for the civil bar, so I can meet, and we can hear, and we can make sure what we're doing. And I brought the federal courts along, Administrative Judge Gahn, myself, other judges I've invited from our court. They're always welcome. And I've been meeting with them, and we've been meeting weekly, and then we stepped it down to every other week. But it's an important feedback, because as I always tell everyone in the court, we start off, I feel like we're out to sea on a ship that we're building, because every day, as you look at that, as I look at March calendar, every day there was a new twist or turn that was going on. I always like to chuckle, because when you look at these photos from March, no one's wearing a mask. No one's wearing anything except we just social distance. Then what happened and what we did is I made a bold statement, again, prior to the governor, prior to anyone, that face coverings must be worn in our building, and that we must keep 6 feet apart. And why did I do that? Well, from talking to Dr. Boudros and Dr. Bruner from Metro Health, who were very good about informing me about what's going on with the virus, they were telling us that, you know, social distancing is one part of the issue, but wearing face masks is another. And how it came up is one of our judges ordered the jail, who an individual was had diabetes, was high risk, that was charged with a serious felony that couldn't get out of, was charged with a serious felony and was sitting there on multiple cases, was in the jail, and the judge ordered PPE because for that individual. And so Dr. Bruner called me and said, Judge, we don't have full PPE for the jail, and we don't have that. And I go, well, what needs to be done? And again, collaboration with the county prosecutor, the public defender, the sheriffs. We sat down and we said every inmate must have a mask. They should have a mask. And then, of course, there were security concerns. And from that conversation, I said, wait a minute, if we're talking about that in our jail, why aren't we talking about that in our courthouse and people coming into this courthouse? So we made the statement of masks being worn, and we were concerned about people not having the masks available. So we purchased masks. We went out, Greg Popovich, Andrea Canest, our court administration. I never thought they would be PPE experts. They know where to find masks, gloves, sanitizers. They went out. Their offices are full of all this stuff, so we can have access to, people can have access into our court, and again, be safe. So I'm giving you an overview. So much has happened in 5 months in the court. But one of the things that I really am proud of is the collaboration between everyone, all the stakeholders, the county, the court, the prosecutors, the public defenders. I was meeting with our judges once a week, and I still meet with our judges once a week. During this time, from March 11th on, we had daily meetings with all our stakeholders, with all the folks, talking about how are we gonna, all the administrative judges from all the different courts, how are we dealing with these issues? And one of the things that was very concerning to me is, hey, if something's working in the old courthouse, why aren't we doing it here in this courthouse, or vice versa? Or if someone's if we're getting this kind of material in this court, why isn't the other courts getting it? It's all about making sure everyone was dealing with this virus and making sure every courthouse was safe for all the practitioners. But then we decided that from the civil task force and the bench bar COVID task force, we heard you, that the lawyers want to keep moving cases, that you would love to be able to have judges involved in your cases. And how do we do that? So we went out and had Zoom licenses purchased for all the judges and all the courtrooms. So now judges are holding Zoom hearings, Zoom pretrials, Zoom settlement conferences, breakout rooms, things that some judges, I will be honest, would never turn on a computer, are now Zoom experts. We have seen attorneys now using Zoom in our jail so they can have conversations from their house or from their office or from their car with their client in a private conversation via Zoom. And this is, I mean, it's just technology has really been stepped up in our courts. Some of the other things, we are supplying obviously masks for everyone, but we've also, if you haven't been into our courtrooms, technology is there now for the civil practitioners. We have 83-inch Mondo pads that are in each judge's courtroom, that when and if you ever have a trial in our courts, you will see the Mondo pads that will be available for you for video hearings, for presentations to jurors. So there's no more carrying your screen and your little PowerPoint projector stuff. We have that in our courts. We've increased the Wi-Fi. We've upgraded the Wi-Fi. So if you had problems with Wi-Fi, I hope you won't have that anymore. We've improved the furniture in the courtrooms. We got rid of, for those of you who've tried cases in those old courthouse, in the old courthouse, in those courtrooms, we have new furniture there. And why? Well, not only because it was ordered before this, but we got it there because it's all leather. It won't be those crummy cloth seats that will be, God knows what viruses could sit in those seats, but we can clean them. The other thing, just to kind of give you the hope, is that if you have a hearing in front of a judge in our court, our cleaning services, Public Works, has moved their time clocks up. So they're in the building while we're in the building. So they're there during a hearing. If you are done with a hearing or you're coming in after a hearing, as long as the judge and the bailiff notify them, they come into that room, they wipe down, spray down every leather chair, every table, every plexiglass, so you are safe. And this is stuff that we've learned through the experts, the doctors, and what we can do and what we need to do. So here I am, we're getting through, now you heard me mention plexiglass. I had Judge Cassandra Collier-Williams and our jury committee, our Judge Russo, who's in charge of our caseflow committee, giving me recommendations. We've got to get trials going. And so we were set on August 10th to start jury trials in Cuyahoga County, August 10th. And we were ready to go. And what was amazing is that when the legislature suspended, I wouldn't say suspended, but they had a speedy trial time for criminal cases. That speedy trial statute that was put in place, there were 50 cases in the state of Ohio when the legislature and the Supreme Court said, we're going to toll the statute for these cases. And there was a tolling order in place. And let me tell you, there was only 50 cases in the state of Ohio at that time. So we're getting ready. We sent out our jury summons, and I know some of you may have gotten that jury summons. We were ready to go. And all of a sudden, just something didn't sit right with me. And what was that? Well, I will tell a personal story. A friend of mine who is a great lawyer, who is a friend I've known for a long time, he was in the hospital on a respirator and they didn't think he was going to make it. And that was still and I was stunned. I was communicating with his family. I get emails from his wife. I'm still talking about bringing jury trials August 10th. And this is weighing on my mind, as we all probably know someone who had COVID or has COVID, but this was something that was just really devastating. And by the way, that fireman who just passed away, it was another friend of mine I knew. But anyways, I'm sitting there as I'm thinking, okay, we're ready to move. We're getting ready to march. The building's ready. But the numbers of COVIDs that we had at the time I had the judges meet was 919 just in Cuyahoga County. In this county. And I'm like, there's something wrong here. Federal court suspended jury trials to September 21st. And Judge Gaughan called me and she told me that how they got to that conclusion. And it was just, Cleveland was a hot spot. And if you remember in that time frame in September, the federal government called Cleveland one of the top 9 cities as a hot spot in the country. I brought the judges together in our weekly meeting and I brought the county prosecutor, the public defender, everyone together, and I said, what are we doing? And everyone agreed that they thought, and the prosecutor specifically, because of the speedy trial sentences, told, if we created an order that would toll time, would it withstand scrutiny down the road? And I will tell you that, again, great collaboration. Everyone agreed. We had a spirited discussion with the judges, and we voted to continue trials to September 21st. So that's how the jury trials got suspended. But I wanted to give you a little bit of an update here. Now, hopefully this works. This is how I want to, Judge Cassandra Collier-Williams, we timed, how do we get jurors up into the courtroom? How do we seat the jurors? How are they set? So I'm going to play this short video for you just so everyone can see how we got this going.
We're going to take the first 10 jurors. You're going to go across the hall and line up in the hallway, 6 feet apart. There should be room for 5 of you on one side of the room, 5 of you on the other side. Then you'll go into the jury commission, have your ID ready, they'll check you in. Then you'll come back and sit, okay? So thank you. So the first up is Alexandra Cologne, Judith Vivian.
Today, hopefully we'll have a lot of fun, try to figure out how we're going to get people from here up to the courtrooms, and more importantly, how we're going to sit once we're in the courtroom.
Thank you so much for volunteering. We've already identified a number of issues just by having you in the space. So things that we can look to resolve. We already resolved a couple things. Again, just watching you walk in here. We direct everyone.
Stand in your spots, please. And I'm taking you.
So hopefully everyone can hear me still while this is going on. This was a mock jury setup, and with 3, we had, at the time before we decided what our setup was going to be, we had 3 mock jury setups, so everyone understands what they're looking at. So this was the first one, which, believe it or not, the architects said you put jurors on the floor. We didn't like it, and none of us liked it, but don't get freaked out when you see this one.
47 minutes. All right. Why don't you know what? 47 minutes to fill one room.
Their document then was 47 minutes to fill one room.
And that doesn't count registration. That's just from the start of the video. I just wanted to make sure you saw this before you have that move, that you've seen what it looks like.
And then the witness is there.
Still there in this file.
Okay. And
So you got an issue over there in the corner with the proximity of
That's Judge John Satula with a 6-foot social distancing stick, so you understand what he's doing here.
Sergeant Arms, measure the witness.
All right, I'm gonna socially distance myself and see the next jury.
Okay, everybody, across the hall.
This is plexiglass setup.
If you feel, you want to leave it, if you feel uncomfortable sitting next to someone close, then you don't have to. If you're okay with it,
up here.
We'll
have the petition between the back row. There will be a petition between every person. The front row is not used. They'll have this plastic in between the box and this. And then every juror here will have a petition in between them as well.
I want to sit like this and look modular and having dividers. That's, I was thinking.
They offered to put in a knee railer. Now, it's possible they wanted to show me two models. There was another model they don't have outlined here, and that has four, instead of 22, we send you 20. Because I can also put a row of chairs back here. We have space here now. We can use to put jurors. So you could possibly do it. Again, I need the architects to design the space, but.
The same dividers as in my court.
Okay.
Same individual dividers.
So each one of these seats will have like a divider in between. Divider in between, and then that's it.
So that was pre-dividers, but you can obviously see where this is going.
All right, I like it. All right, thank you for
They need that, they need it.
Okay. So I'll move the next screen, I think. Darren, is it moving? Hang on. I just need our assistance here to make sure I get out of this screen. So hang on. All right. So you see the final product. On the left is the courtroom with the final product. You can see the plexiglass dividers between the jurors. The row of seats, this first row in the jury box, was taken away, so there's social distancing there. There's the plexiglass dividers, and I'm proud to say, and the blue line is where the lawyers cannot cross the blue line. Trial lawyers like to walk around the courtroom. We didn't want to limit you to seated at a table, and we were able to then set up a blue line so there'd be safety between the juror and the lawyers. But the beauty of this was I was on a national conference with Darren Toms, who's our public information officer, and they were amazed at the way our design was set up, and they wanted to know where we got these plexiglass that are not obnoxious, that are set up like that. And it was great. I'm proud to say our court administration, along with the trades union, designed those in our own building here, and they are amazed. So you have a larger juror or a juror who wants to swivel his chairs, those all could be moved. There's 2 holders on it. So I tell you, all the courtrooms, every courtroom by September 21st will have those dividers in them. And please take a look. Come visit the court if you're in the building. Take a look at what it looks like. Now, on the right is the Global Center. And why am I showing you this now? Well, you're the first group to see it. I'm showing you this because again, with collaboration, talking to the county executive, talking with our court administration, talking with all our stakeholders. That building over there was not being used because obviously there's no conventions. And we said, hey, we have a civil bar who wants to try cases, who need to know at least the capability of trying cases, but need space. And I went over there, I had them design 5 courtrooms for us with sight lines and spacing and 6-foot distancing and views. And believe it or not, we have now over there 5 courtrooms that will be set up for September 21st that will be able to be used for civil cases. Now, in some cases, if there's a larger criminal case, we might bring it over there. But it's just security in the building. We didn't want to tax our sheriff department with more security in that building. So we're limiting that building right now for civil trials. I'm telling you, we're also using the Global Center for gathering. So the jurors would not, in that first video you saw, the jurors wouldn't be gathering on the 4th floor and congregating there anymore like they used to. They're going to be meeting over at the Global Center in those two grand big ballrooms. And it's going to infuse social distancing. It's going to give people some safety, some security, and it also will give spacing for everybody. And actually, not a bad place to do voir dire for some trials. Also, the food court in that building said they're going to open up for us. So it's kind of a win-win for the county and for the court. The county needs to infuse some life in that building, and the court needs the space for you folks to try cases. So I'm very proud of that effort, and we're just finishing up the final contract on that. So that will be in play by September 21st. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is that you will, because you've tuned into the CLE, you're going to get to see this for the first time. One of the concerns we had with jurors is getting jurors that want to be here and feeling safe to be here. We contacted Paul Orlowski, who retired, a news reporter in Cleveland who retired, and we asked him if he would help us with a PSA so we can send out to the media. We could send out to our jurors. It will be online. Hopefully the Bar Association will put this out there. We want jurors to feel confident when they come down here that they are safe. And I'm going to play this video for you. It's a short video, but I think it's really interesting so you know what jurors are going to be saying.
Jury trials have begun here at Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court. If you receive a summons for jury duty, it's very natural that you might have questions about coming here. In this video, we're going to explain exactly what has been done to ensure your safety and health while you're here, if you're indeed summoned.
Jury duty is, besides serving our country in the military, probably one of the most important things you can do in our community, especially now. You'll be given an opportunity to come into a courtroom, and when you come to our courtrooms aren't looking the same way as they did pre-COVID.
In an earlier video that you can access on this site, we explained the process for entering the Justice Center and all the sanitizing that's become part of the daily routine here. Masks are a must for everyone. Surfaces are disinfected. Social distancing is maintained, and a limit of 2 people on any elevator at any time is strictly enforced. We invite you to link to the video for more in-depth information about courthouse precautions. If you're called for jury duty, you don't immediately need to come downtown. You'll be given a phone number to call the night before you to report for jury duty. If you're not needed, there's nothing more to do. If you are needed, you'll report here to the Global Center for Health Innovation, formerly the Medical Mart. It's right across Ontario Street from the Justice Center. Here, you'll learn specifics of your assignment. It is a way to keep as many people as possible from even having to enter the Justice Center.
We have more space, social distancing. They'll be greeted with a face mask, hand sanitizer, a little baggie, a greeting bag for their service as jurors.
There's a lot of space over there.
Oh, the Global Center provides us with great space for all jurors, so there could be social distancing and they can have space to relax and wait till their case is called.
If you're called for possible selection to a jury, you'll be escorted from the Global Center to the Justice Center. Here you'll be led to a disinfected, thoroughly cleansed elevator, then to a courtroom. It is an elevator used only for jurors. Remember, as jurors, you're the VIPs here.
Before COVID, we brought in approximately 600 people a week into this building. With COVID-19, we have cases that are waiting to be tried. Family victim members waiting to hear the end of their case. Defendants who are waiting for justice in their case. And this gives us an opportunity, because of jurors stepping up and doing their civic duty, a chance to resolve these matters.
Only 3 large courtrooms are being used for jury trials. This ensures that each room gets the proper disinfection and cleaning at the end of every day. Each of the 3 has been outfitted with plexiglass barriers.
In Cuyahoga County, we have 34 judges elected, and they have all done a great job pitching in, adding their comments, stepping up to the plate. In this building, though, we also have Cleveland Muni Court, Cleveland Housing Court, all the judges. everyone, we worked as a team to make sure this building is safe for jurors. Every defendant has a constitutional right to a speedy trial, and that's 90 days. And we have to give them that opportunity to try their case within 90 days.
This is the jury box where you'll sit if called. Jurors are divided from one another by plexiglass, as you can see here. One row of jurors will sit in the back row. The next row will remain empty to ensure social distancing. Another group will sit here on the floor, and lawyers will have to stay behind that blue line in order to maintain social distancing of 6 feet. The judge is protected from litigants and the jurors by plexiglass. Witnesses also are surrounded by plexiglass. They will also be made to wear clear plastic shield masks so reactions or emotions can be seen by the jurors, but that still maintain appropriate safety standards. As a juror, you won't have to wear a mask while being questioned in what is called voir dire, or the examination of you by each side of the case to ask if you have any conflicts about the case. This is because your facial reaction is important to lawyers on both sides to make sure every person charged with a crime gets a fair trial. You'll have to wear a mask coming into or leaving the jury box or any other time you're in the building. If you are seated as a juror for a trial while listening to testimony, you will have to wear a mask. Those attending will also be kept a minimum of 6 feet apart in the audience. Bottom line is, if you got a summons for jury duty, you'd feel comfortable coming down.
Yes, you come into this courthouse, you get your summons, you know that the judges in this county want to make sure our jurors are safe.
It can't be stressed enough that through all of the preparations that have been going on in getting ready to resume jury trials, a tremendous amount of time and effort has been put into juror safety. Remember, in this building, you're the VIPs and you'll be treated that way. And thank you for your service.
All right, I'm gonna let Darren exit me out of that video. All right, so what are we doing now? What are we working on? What's happening? In the immediate future, we're working obviously to keep the jail population low. The jail has advised us that that number needs to be 1,100. That prepares for isolation. We're preparing for the backlog of cases from delays and new indictments. Obviously, the Global Center for Civil Trials, that's going to be an issue. Getting people sent to prison. And what do I mean by that? Well, in case you didn't know, our prisons are not accepting people like they used to. They are only accepting so many per week. And in Cuyahoga County, we're getting maybe 10 individuals a week out of our jail that have been shipped to the Ohio Department of Corrections. Just so you know, currently of the numbers of individuals sitting in our county jail, 114 of them are waiting to be transported to prison, and 67 of them are waiting to get transported to a halfway house or a housing facility or a treatment facility. When I talk about treatment facilities, that's an issue in our court. Because of the social distancing, beds in treatment facilities have been cut in half, but also getting inmates into those treatment facilities are difficult because of testing and quarantining. We are also dealing with increased grand jury meeting days. We have currently 3 grand juries meeting. And I want to pause when I mention grand jurors. We were able to impanel 3 grand juries last month. And why is that important? Well, it was a great test pilot because who are these folks that are showing up? And we found that it was the same cross-section of our community that would have been normally present at normal times during pre-COVID. The willingness to serve was overwhelming. Sure, there's some people that are high risk that we told them don't come down. But when they got here, it was an honor for them to be there and they want to serve. So for those naysayers who say I wouldn't get a fair jury, I question that because we've got evidence that the return and the amount of jurors that showed up for 3, and we're not just talking 22 people, we're talking for each grand jury, we issued a summonses of over 100 each. So we had over a population of 400 or 500 people that were present that want to be here. So I tell that to everyone who thinks, well, am I going to get a fair jury? Is the jury going to be fair? Well, from what we're seeing and what we're looking at, we are seeing that. So what's going on? What is looking into late 2020, 2021? Well, when I started, if you remember the beginning of this PowerPoint, if I haven't put you to sleep yet, the beginning, we were talking about the Justice Center. Well, what is the future of the Justice Center? Things have changed. Are we talking now of building a new jail or not building a new jail? Building a new Justice Center, not building a new Justice Center? This has changed the conversation. And we're going to be meeting at the end of this early October to figure out where we're going. We're going to analyze how we can expedite cases and keep those numbers down, how we can reduce bail cases, and how does that deal with other reform efforts, which is kind of interesting because people say, well, what happened with bail reform? Well, I'll tell you what happened with bail reform. It was COVID-19 in March showed us that there was bail reform done unintentionally in our jail. And we now have data that we can study to show people, naysayers, what we have done and what has happened and what is going on with bail reform. So we have some stuff that we're working on there. There's security issues at the Justice Center still. Unfortunately, in the wake of the protests, we have to deal with security issues. And then the morale of our employees, every business, every law firm, every lawyer, there's morale amongst your staff. You got to keep it high. And we have the same issue in our court. I try to communicate every Monday with all our court employees, over 500 employees, talking about just keeping them informed, what's going on. I call it, just so you know how creative, I call it on Monday because that's when I send the message out on Monday. But I try to keep them apprised of what happened. And this past Monday, I met with the HVAC people. And those of you who don't know, the HVAC, the flow of air in the Cuyahoga County Justice Center. And I was concerned about the airflow and specifically with COVID, how is that working? And I learned more about ionization and UV lighting and different molecules and how they do it and how they're increasing the airflow in this building. It is amazing. And it was so amazing that I shared it with our employees so they understand what we're doing about the air quality in our building. Because those of you know who built this building in 1976, no windows open in this building. Also, probation department, people who are on probation. We've changed the way things are done in probation. Every probation officer has a laptop. There's less in-person reporting, more Zoom reporting. We're trying to increase the number of GPS units so we can reduce the jail population. So I end my presentation that Albert Einstein said, in the middle of difficult times lies opportunity. And this is some great opportunities for us because even though COVID-19 is horrible and it's a pandemic and it's changed our thing, it's also given us a great opportunity to hopefully make some huge impacts in the Cuyahoga County justice system that people have been trying to do for years that we really haven't done. And it's kind of been forced on us. We have a clean slate, and I hope we're going to get things done. So that's my presentation. I hope I didn't bore everybody, Andy, and I'm sure Katie's going to tell us the viewers dropped to maybe 2, my mom and my wife. All right, go ahead.
All right, Judge, thank you very much. That was really informative, and we appreciate the overview that you have provided us. You did go over a little bit, so we're short on time for questions. I'm going to try to narrow the questions down to some sort of quick, more important issues. Can you just walk us through the procedure for lawyers when they enter the Justice Center? I know you created a fast pass system for the use of the elevators. Can you explain that to everyone?
Sure. Yeah. So when you come in, you'll go through the normal screening, the COVID questions, temperature. But if you're a lawyer, you don't have to go through I call it the Cedar Point line to check in. But if you have a client, or if you have a client that needs to be in the court, we have a check-in system. And why do we do that? For track tracing. So if someone is positive, we can notify people. So we have a check-in at the first floor. But if you're a lawyer and you're just going up to the courtroom for a pretrial, you don't have to go through that. You go right to the, if you will, by having your ID badge, the fast pass line, and you go right to the elevator. We have a lawyer's elevator. We jump you on that elevator because there's only 2 per elevator, as you know from the video. We get you on the elevator ASAP, and you're fast passed in. So that's how we do it in the Justice Center now.
Great, thanks. I also want to discuss how the court is working through the backlog of cases, and I'd like to break down the question, Judge, for you into 2 groups, the civil side and the criminal side. And if you don't mind me interjecting for a moment, just because of my role with respect to the civil task force, I'd like to explain what we're doing on the civil side for those civil practitioners out there. First of all, for those of you who don't know, we have created a program through the CMBA, a mediation initiative. And that mediation initiative is something that you really should try to take advantage of. We have recruited 30 of the best mediators, private mediators in Cuyahoga County, who have agreed to volunteer 4 hours of their time for free to help with the civil backlog. So if any of you have a case that you believe is suitable for mediation, please contact your judge, ask to be referred into the mediation program. A referral will be made. The referrals go through the court, but then ultimately to the CMBA, where you'll be set for a mediation, which is free of charge for up to 4 hours. So that's a great program. Second thing I want to address is that for those people with civil cases, the judges have been phenomenal in setting status conferences. So keep your cases moving. If you have an issue, if you have a question, if you need the court's attention, if you want to know about dates, simply contact the court and they will set a status conference. Most of the status conferences are by phone or by Zoom, but they have been found to be very productive. And lastly, on the civil side, we are in the process of putting together a survey to gauge the pulse of the civil practitioners. That survey will be sent through the CMBA later this week. Please look for it. Please respond, because as Judge Sheehan mentioned, collaboration is really important, and getting him that data and that feedback is really instrumental in his role as the administrative judge. So that's what's going on with respect to the backlog of civil cases. Judge, can you address the criminal side?
And Andy, before I address the criminal side, I want to thank you for stepping up. I asked Andy to get me that pulse of the civil bar, and I appreciate the mediation and getting that. I know they've been working with the court mediation, and I tell you that mediation is huge, and it gives everyone an arbitration. And by the way, the Global Center will have the ability to have arbitrations in it too. We have room there for that. So if you want to arbitrate, your client just needs to have their case heard by someone. It's an opportunity while we're waiting to get it to trial with the court. On the criminal side, we have a backlog of approximately over 1,700 cases backlog. Defense bar is out there saying, what's going on? Well, first of all, we as judges, we have the arraignment room set up that 1 judge per day in the arraignment room. And there's a list for lawyers to get on that arraignment room. Contact court administration. It's a Gmail account. It's something that you can just say, hey, I'm available for assignments if there's any that you can get. Right now, assignments have been down on the criminal side because there wasn't a lot of grand jury activity for a few months. Michael Malley, the county prosecutor, and I, we're in meetings. We are opening up we're turning, as we would say, turning the faucet up a little bit, and we got to get through those 1,700 case backlog. So if you're a defense lawyer and you're wondering when those cases are coming, I will tell you soon. As you noticed though, when I mentioned that backlog, with turning up getting through those 1,700 cases and our concern for the jail, we want to make sure the Department of Corrections are taking our people that need to be out of our jail, so we don't have our jail then crippled again, as Dr. Bruner told me in the beginning, with COVID positive and nowhere to put. And then we've got this virus spreading all over that jail. So we've been safe, we've been smart, but understanding we got to get people moving. We need everyone, all systems ready before we go. But we're working through those backlog. We want to work from them. So thank you.
Great. Judge, one of the questions that came up is how backed up is the civil docket? Do you have any numbers for us on the civil side?
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting. Civil filings have been, the status has been pretty accurate, comparably speaking, which I was surprised at. So filings are going up, and all the judges have been working their dockets. And I've met with every staff attorney and every bailiff and every judge and said, do not ignore your civil docket. Do the pre-trials. You can do them by phone. If you can do them by Zoom, great. Do your settlement conferences. Do it by Zoom. We have not ignored, and I've asked every judge, do not ignore your civil docket. And if there's an issue with someone ignoring it, or they feel their case is being ignored, please contact me and I'll look into it immediately. But I was hoping when we talk about we don't believe there's a backlog, maybe a backlog of trials that can't resolve because no case resolves without that trial date. But hopefully now that you know September 21st, we have room for you. Hopefully that'll get things moving.
Great, Judge, thank you. It looks like we're out of time. Unfortunately, we have a number of questions that we're just not able to get to, so we apologize for that. Katie, are you back on the line with us?
I am right here. So thank you both for everything.
Just woke up for her nap. Hi, Katie.
You didn't put me to sleep, Judge Sheehan, so we're all good. So thank you so much for all that information. There were some other information in the chat about how informative this program was. So thank you for all the time and effort that you put into it on our behalf. Somebody else had asked one other thing about whether or not there was a contact list with all the bailiffs' emails. I will say that the CMBA does have a directory that does have all of that listed. If you are interested, Judge Sheehan, is there anything like that on the website?
Yeah, I believe there's a contact number for the court bailiffs. There should be on our court website. And again, I really mean this, Katie and Andy and your audience. If there is an issue and they did not get their question answered, please contact me, and and maybe we can do a follow-up as a kind of a COVID continuation, and I can keep you guys informed, because this, I really mean this. This is like a ship out to sea, and you never know what's going to happen as we're building this thing. So we're not locked into anything, and we're all ears, all eyes, trying to make sure we can get things moving in a good way and change the way we do things in Cuyahoga County that we've been talking about for years. So hopefully we can continue the conversations.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for being ahead of the curve and taking care of all this, keeping everyone safe. So just as a quick reminder for everyone who does want their CLE credit, you will be getting a survey follow-up. So watch your email for that and complete the survey, and you will have your email or CLE credit from there. So thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
All right. Bye, Judge. Bye, Andy. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Katie.